Operation status quo. Operation status quo. Prepare to engage. Operation status quo. Ready to engage. Operation status quo. Engaged. Engaged. Hello, the beautiful people of the world. Ho! In the corner to my left, it's the beautiful people of the world. And in the corner to my right, it's Operation Status Quo. Yo, let me get my applause back. Where is that, Eric? Come get it back. Oh, it's a Wednesday. I was just thinking I haven't used my tambourine in a little while. Oh, Mr. Tambourine Man, play a song for me. Yeah! You gotta have a little fun with the tambourine, right? That's what we do here on Operation Status Quo. We have a good time. We talk about what's going on in the world, but we realize that there's bigger forces at play. I mean, realize how powerful we are inside and how much positive energy is out there. And it's all up to us to tap into it and make it happen, right? So hello and welcome. First and foremost here to Operation Status Quo, ladies and gentlemen, on this beautiful Wednesday as we move our way through concluding September. What a crazy year it's been, right? How quickly the time has gone by. I can't believe it. Like I just, remember my birthday was back in August and I was so excited about that coming up and turning 50 and all that kind of thing. So I was really happy about all that. And, it was a kind of like a big thing when as the time was building up to the day, and then all of a sudden it's the day's gone, and here we are over a month and a half later, just about, and it's like, oh geez, did that even happen? Well, I guess I can start planning now for 51. So hey, I'm Pete Palma, if you don't know so already. Hello and welcome to Operation Status Quo. This is the place where we observe the status quo of life. We learn to flow with the status quo of life, and then of course we create our own flow of quo, because that's the only way to go. You got to do what's right for you. You gotta do what's right for you. Should I do this? Let me go to the close cam. If we're really gonna get into this like this, ladies and gentlemen, you gotta do what's right for you to do. Yes, indeedly do. That's what you gotta do. What am I doing? It's just get rid of this crazy thing. Oh man! Oh, by the way, let me show you real quick because I was messing with the close cam. Get out of here! Where's my damn AO so I can get rid of that applause? There we go. But if I show you over here on this wall, ironically enough, going behind the scenes, I got more. You see, I have some of these signs over here where I normally do blah 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 blah. But like when I was doing my show before, I had a couple angles, set up. So that wall over here actually was covered. I took a few things down. But I never took everything down. I don't know why I'm telling you this because it has nothing to do with anything that we're talking about today, but that's the beauty of Operation Status Quo, because it's just a constant reminder, that life is always in flux and we're just having fun, and I'm here just to chat with you and be your friend. So if you're there online with me while we're here live, please feel free to drop your comments in the comment section below. Would love to see what's on your mind. You join in the chat. If you're catching this later, then, drop your comments anyway, and I'll be happy to respond because I like dealing and speaking and communicating with my audience, which is you, the beautiful people of the world out there. Today is the 27th, right? The 27th of September in the good year 2023. And today's program is entitled, ladies and gentlemen, The Good Fight. That's right. Because I was thinking about the whole idea, of good versus evil, like, especially everything that's going on in the world today, right? It's become such a hard line of like, especially down the conspiracy roads of things when we want to get into the human trafficking and all this stuff that's going on in the world, the total crime with our politicians and corporations and banking system and all that type of stuff. So obviously we look at these type of things as evil, right? And we say, oh my God, these people are evil people. And, the good, especially those who are extra religious, put on the armor of Christ, and we have to take up the sword, and it gets all this like good versus evil. It's like a big war going on all the time, which quite honestly, I'm gonna have a little bit of information to share, but before I get to it, really, I mean, it's true in a sense. There's always this round and round it goes of good versus evil, quote unquote, based on the labels that we give it, in our human form of perception and such. And, but ultimate truth, and this is really the basic. After I say this, you can You can turn it off because I'll just be jabbering. No, but seriously, the ultimate truth is everything comes from the same source energy, like the quantum field, consciousness, God, whatever words, you want to try to, quantify it within, as far as our human dialect and perception goes. But ultimately, everything really comes from the same space. So the same creator that creates all the beautiful love in the world is the same creator creating, the evil in the world, the way we label it. But the truth is, it's not really evil and it's not really good. This is my personal, thoughts, because, everything is just like, to build the ultimate of the oneness, you need all the parts. It's like, you build a car, you need the engine, you need the tires, you need the body of the car, you need the axles, you need all the parts, right? So it's the same thing with existence itself. You need all the parts. Let's be realistic. If everything was just always this high vibing, everything's ultimate good as we perceive it, what would we be doing? Like there would be no contrast in any way to reflect upon what quantifies something as good if if we have nothing to compare it to, right? So you wouldn't even know. I guess you wouldn't even have the term good or anything. I guess everybody would just be kind of, floating in the clouds and meditating and leaving their bodies and, having a good time. I don't know. And if the world was ultimate evil, I mean, what would you know? I guess it would be the same thing. Everybody would just be, it would just be a horrific, I guess it would just be a horrific, painful, existence. I don't know, so, excuse me, we have to have both sides, to make the whole. And I always talk about, we're here in the Earth School. We're here to learn. So you have to have, these forces at play so that, you can learn and engage with them. I think ultimately, one energy, everything is energy, right? So there's going to be different vibrations. There's going to be different, if you want to use the word karmic expressions of what people choose to engage with or put out in a way. But but ultimately it doesn't mean one's less than the other or more than the other. It's just like, it's always like the proof is in the pudding, type thing. What ingredients you use, what care you put in to create something is what you kind of get back. What your intentions are on your subconscious level, if you're not even really kind of even aware. Like most people really are even unaware of the fact of what it is to be aware, right? I think I did a show about that one time, unaware of awareness or something like that it was called. But anyway, so, when whatever intention and energy you're putting forth is really what kind of, creates the world that we see out in front of us. So the reason I'm doing this today is just because I think, we get caught up in what's right or wrong, what's good or bad. And listen, people, you see what we're going through since COVID, right? It's the exposure of how we've basically been lied to all this time, and and not trying to make it too, I'm always trying to look beyond making it as concrete as our physical world shows, but at the end of the day, humanity is and the consciousness thereof is always a work in progress, right? It goes in cycles. Like what I totally believe is, we're in a time now where, we're seeing, how evil, for the lack of a better term, and the manipulation of truth, or the manipulation of just manipulation in general, how that has shaped the world into the space where it is now, where people are not living true to their hearts and consumed with consumerism and commercialism and Hollywood and all these type of things that and again, Hollywood and everything like that doesn't have to be bad either, right? It just depends on the intention. But again, everything the way our world has been over this time has put out this kind of negative intention, basically. And so now that's coming to light, right? And people are starting to realize, and as our current structures and systems kind of implode on themselves because they can no longer sustain in a higher vibration where humanity is heading, will go the other way, and things will be more, equitable. Things will be more compassionate. Things will be, more out of love and community and care, as opposed to everything for money and division and, stepping on each other for, just surviving, basically. So, and then after generations go by, maybe another 1,000, 2,000, I don't know, however many years it takes, it'll flip again, because it'll be a high point of everybody with this compassion and living good. And there'll be one guy that'll be like, somebody like me probably. I'll come back 2,000 years from now and be like, oh, look at these goodies around here, all sitting around, just, saying prayers and meditating and, and singing with the fish, I don't know, whatever. And it's like, I could take advantage of these schmoes real easy, and then somebody will do a little something to just kind of start to take from people, and it'll build, and it'll go back down to another way of total suppression of humanity. And then it'll cycle through again. It's like, it's just a cycle. It's a karmic cycle, and all humanity's one. So, I mean, it's basically kind of is, we put a lot, I'm saying this because we put so much emphasis on right, wrong, good, bad. And we have to remember that, all the parameters that encompass those ideas, they're always changing. Everything is relative to a time period, right? So we're always kind of everything's always in flux. And, what are the circumstances that brought, humanity to one space become different circumstances that bring to another space. But ultimately, I want to say the behaviors or it's always the same. Go back through history. I mean, it's always been, the same. You can go back all different generations and put the same circumstances basically in place of, people thought it was going to be the end of the world, or people thought this, or, who was in charge and who wasn't. And, just all kinds of stuff. Right. So it's the plight of the human existence in a sense. And again, if we just take it from the idea that this is the Earth School and we're here to learn, then all these vibrations are at play, and it's really just, each soul is here for individual purposes to learn what they need to learn. And that's why I'm saying, for one person, what good may be, it might be evil for somebody else, and vice versa. And again, it's not about the labels. That's what we always have to remember. It's not about the labels. Yeah, is it wrong to do something that we consider, harmful to another or with malicious intent? I mean, yes. I mean, those are not good vibrations per se, but it doesn't necessarily make them wrong, because we don't know the journey of each and every individual soul here on this planet, right? So if someone here is here to fulfill a specific karmic purpose of learning and growth, whatever the case may be, they have to go through that stage to put forth. And maybe these people, that we look at, even with politics, we make fun of all the politicians, whether it's Trump or Biden, whatever side you're on, people will say nasty things about both of them, but just using that as an example, because that's one of the things that's so divisive now. But, they each have karmic paths, to follow, right, that are putting a certain vibration energy into the collective that inspires other parts of the collective to look at things or do things in a different way. Again, depending wherever you are. there's no judgment on all that, because I always say I have my own views, right, and things that resonate with me more so than others that I enjoy, but that I believe in, or that I follow, or that kind of guide my path in certain ways. But I don't hold on to any of it, like any of that, especially our outside world, business, religions, education. I've always been, I just don't, I don't vibe with that, because it's always very limiting to me, because it's always kind of keeping people in a box. Or, you think about your days in school, generally it's not an environment where it's encouraging free thinking, outside of the box, to question any of the rules. It's always more about, teaching you to comply and just fill your head with nonsense, right? So, so I try myself personally to, but everything that's in our world is really imperfection, not imperfection as imperfect, but in its perfection, I should say, more like that to make it clear, and it's all meant to be how it is for the reasons, for everyone to learn what they need to learn. And, is it uncomfortable sometimes? Yeah. And that's why we're here. We, again, right. We chose our lives. This world is way more beyond than, the physical confines that we attribute everything to. So, when you look at it from that higher perspective, who are we as individuals, each of us, to get in the way of anybody on their own journey of learning, in a sense, but also for ourselves not to take everything so seriously, and get hung up on our particular, again, each person is going to resonate with certain ideals and whatever, values, different things. But at the same time, that's just where that vibration energy is for the whole collective to operate as it should. So, and that goes back to talking about that there is no such thing as time. I know it's harder for us because we look at everything as like so concrete, moment by moment, and realistically, there is no time. You're seeing multiple facets, we're here, but I'm saying everything's happening at once. So when you think of it that way, it makes it a lot easier to not get hung up on this, like, good, evil. But I know I will say this, though, as far as our current circumstances go in our world today, I am glad that people are seeing things this way because, ultimately, whatever, I get it. It's all part of a oneness, like I just said. So I'm not, but from my perspective as a human here, to see the amount of suffering that not even just has happened since COVID. I mean, for generations, I've always said that I don't even understand how fellow human beings could be alive on this earth and we allow other human beings to go without food, and there's always excuses and, governments and all this stuff. If they really cared, like these are the kind of problems that would be solved. Like how it's like basic, if we were really a community that cared about each other, in a way, no one would be hungry. No one would be without shelter. We would build our communities in such a way that everyone is provided for and educated and encouraged to be a part of, the whole. So, and participate and provide, so that we all, help each other out. But, and again, but that's the way things, have been. And now people are starting to realize, I think, some people don't want to realize they still want to stay closed in. I don't know why, but, I don't want to stay closed in. I'm glad to see this expansion of thought, as far as how things are going. And, it's fun in a way. I mean, I know it sounds crazy, right? But again, if you look at it from the perspective that we're all here to learn and this, we can't take it all seriously because it's not real. And we're just really, it's like sitting in your math class or something in high school, it's just, you're just sitting in class. So you're here in this body and you're just sitting in class and you're learning, and it's up to you to engage, to see, what you're going to learn. So, and I got myself off tangent there because I was going to say one other thing. What else resonated with me there on that point? I was saying that it's the school and, it's like sitting in class and we don't take it serious. And yeah, but, at the same time, it's good that this is happening because it's, if things didn't happen the way they did with COVID, people wouldn't be, seeing the world in the different way that they are. So it's great. It's great for expansion for people who want to expand and, break free of, like I always say, the little petri dish of shit. If you want to get out of that little petri dish there, then, it's a good time to do so because the world's changing and now it's up to us to make what's going to be happening next. All right, let me, I went long. Like really, that's really the show. I really should just stop right here. But I found this article that I thought was kind of nice. So I'm just going to go through this quickly about good and evil. There is a moral good, there is a moral evil in the world. This is according to this article. We see all this. We see this all the time, every day. Trying to deny that we perceive good and evil is akin to denying the sunrise. It is built into humanity. It's part of our culture, part of understanding our world. And of course, those things that are good, goodness is a force in the world. It's a ground state that exists in some places, not in others. It is the soul of our laws, the aim of our ideals, the goals of our best and brightest. And of course, it's the stuff that's good. We would consider things that build us up, that comfort us, that grow our capabilities, that makes life worth living, makes love worth having, a community worth living in. And of course, evil on the other side, is just wantingly destructive. It's ignorant of consequences, cruel for the sake of pleasure, mean for the sake of misery. Geez, this sounds like this. That really does sound like our world today, right? Evil is a force as well. It's a grounded state in the world, like good, that can exist more strongly in some places than in others. It touches the bullies of the world, the strong men, the con men, those who prey on the weak. It is a blight on society, a constant cancer, an omnipresent threat that we all must monitor and impose on ourselves and others. That is the truth, because that's a great thought now that I'm reading that, because that makes a lot even more sense. It really adds to what I was trying to say about not judging what's good or bad, right or wrong. It's a part, right? It's part of the lesson of our existence, and that is a great sentence right there. It's an omnipresent threat that we all must monitor and oppose in ourselves and others. And as far as the others go, I mean, yeah, we don't. ingratiate, I still think, I'm big on stuff like even being against the death, I'm not saying against the death penalty. Like, if somebody walked in and like killed my family, I probably would want to kill them if I didn't get my hands on them before somebody else. Like, I would kill them probably, right? If somebody did something egregious, kick your dog in the head or something, you're going to kill that person basically, right? But the truth is, like, I don't really think we should, kill others. I just kind of think that since everything is created by creation, the people who do the evil in the world that cause pain to others, they're going to have to deal with that. And I don't really feel that we as fellow humans, embodiments, have that authority to kill somebody or, should kill somebody, because I think the universe works the way it works, and it should be dealt with in the universe as far, instead of us making those. Doesn't mean we can't, put them off to the side like in an island, or, make an island. Maybe they can turn Epstein Island into a place for all. That's what they should do. They should take people like, all the Epstein clan and, put them back on Epstein Island, but make it like a hellscape over there instead of what it was. It was a hellscape for the poor children and everything that were stuck on that island. Anyway, but we're not getting down that deep. But anyway, so it also kind of goes on to say that good and evil are kind of situational. And they say, well, how can it, be situational? It's like, well, you could be thirsty sometimes and other times you're not thirsty. A glass of water might look pretty good in the desert, but not so much when you're drowning. Kind of the same thing with good and evil. It's important to realize at this juncture how good and evil exist. Forget all the poetic flourishes that were just used in his description here, is what he's saying. He just wants to focus on forces in the world. That was just, anyway, good and evil exists because of actions and consequences. So, and that's kind of like what I was saying too about all the karmic part of it. Like, you can do whatever you want. Like, all actions have consequences, sometimes admittedly unforeseen ones. And though there are consequences, any action that we can perceive can be judged as positive or negative, helping or hindering. That's how we decide whether something was good or evil or in between. An action without a consequence is just an intention. And you know what they say about intentions. Well, we know what they say about intentions, but I do think everything is intentions. Let's see here. If we judged everyone by the contents of their heads, we'd all be in prison. Well, that's true. We do all think bad thoughts. Like, I definitely would think something negative, and then I would say, well, obviously I'm not going to do that because that would be bad, and there would be consequences, right? So anyway, let's see what else here about this. I'm just going to go through it quickly because I'm not going to read this whole thing now, but it's good. Now, just to say, okay, let's see here. Let's see here. Murder is wrong, right? Almost everyone is in agreement that most of the time you shouldn't kill people. On the other hand, there are times when killing a person is a damn good idea, such as, for instance, when they are threatening you or your family with lethal force. In this instance, the injunction against killing must necessarily bend if survival is a trait you value. And that's kind of exactly what I was saying too. Like, I really don't think that, if we caught a criminal, that we should, we can keep him behind bars, but we don't need to execute him. But in the heat of the moment, that's really where it comes down to. If you're being attacked, obviously, stealing is wrong, right? That's what they say. Well, sure, almost everyone is in agreement with that most of the time, that you shouldn't steal things, but you should absolutely steal the nerve gas away from a terrorist cell before they zombify downtown Santa Fe. I guess using Santa Fe as his example. Stealing is wrong when it is an impediment or to otherwise innocent lives, not because people deserve to have any given thing they might possess. So this is, just delving deeper into this perspective, it's, just seeing how it's not as black and white as like, what's good or bad, right or wrong, right? It's all kind of situational. So let's see here. Let's see, because at the end, he kind of goes into talking about it being imaginary, and then he gets into this whole kind of expression of if you took a person and grinded them up into dust, and then grind that dust into the smallest molecules, and take those molecules apart atom by atom, proton by neutron, quark by lepton, you will never find a single speck of an elementary particle that causes good or evil. So in the physical sense, no, these things do not exist. They're concepts. And he goes on here to talk about too that the concepts kind of change over time. Just like I was saying for it's all relative to a time period because it's all part of the one energy that makes the whole. So I'm going to leave it at that today and saying that, let's not get fixated on what's right or wrong, good or bad, good, evil, and we got to fight, and because, what's going on in this world today, if everybody who believes what's, the good side say, and they take out all the people that, or the bad side say, what becomes good and bad then? Like, what it means, you're always going to find something else that's bad. And if you're in the bad side, you're always going to find something else that's good. I don't know. You're always going to find something new. It's always in flux. It's always changing. So we have to remember, because that's what we do here in Operation Status Quo. We observe the status quo of life. We have these terms, these concepts that we kind of, guide our lives by. But when you look at it on a deeper level and you take it apart in the way I just been explaining for the past 25 minutes, then, it kind of really lightens the load. And I always talk about here, lightening the load. Let's not live so seriously. Let's just take things what they are. Yes, are we going to have real emotions sometimes, like reactions, and yes, but that is part of why we're here. And remember that each and every one of us chose our existence, chose our lives, chose our bodies, chose our path. We chose it. So don't get angry when things come into your life. Don't get, and just remember you chose it. And what is the situation teaching me? How do I learn from it? How do I grow from it? That's why we have this duality in the sense of the good and evil, because it's all just different vibrations of energy playing against each other to help each and every one of us learn as we go along our path in this world of perfection that is designed by the designer, the consciousness, God, source, whatever, the universe, whatever you want to call it, whatever word you like. But that's basically what we're talking about here. So anyway, I hope you found that a little bit inspiring, maybe helpful, maybe entertaining. I don't know, maybe all the above. Either way, I would love for you to like, subscribe, share, send this out to your friends, family, those you love, and of course, those you despise as well. I love each and every one of you individually as well as a group. God bless you out there. Stay good or stay bad. It depends on what's right for your path right now, right? Okay, do what you got to do out there, but make sure you come back and see me here tomorrow. And until then, Operation Status Quo, disengaged.
Is a boulevard of 10 short blocks.